Good morning. Welcome to our August 13th weekly COVID-19 update briefing. Unfortunately, the number of positive cases in the parish has increased significantly over the past week. We had 51 cases just yesterday, but that brings our total for the parish to 2,390, which is an increase of 115 over last week. But that figure is significantly lower than what it was last week. It was close to 300 increase last week. So 2,390 for the parish, and unfortunately we've incurred 7 more deaths, which brings our total at this point in time up to 82 for the parish. As we're all aware, the governor declared recently that we would stay in phase 2 of the recovery until August the 28th, and he will let us know at that time whether or not we have met the federal guidelines to move in, the gating criteria to move into phase 3. Hopefully he'll be able to do that. According to the Louisiana Department of Health, we are beginning to make some progress in northwest Louisiana with reduction in the number of positive cases, but not nearly enough. The critical issues that are impeding our getting to meeting the criteria to move to phase 3 remains unchanged. They are lack of wearing of face masks, many businesses, bars, and many other businesses not complying with the governor's directives through proclamations, lack of social distancing, and non-compliance with crowd sizes and occupancy limits. So what can we do to improve? Well, to follow the mitigation and preventive actions that have been provided for us all along, and they remain unchanged. They are: wear a mask, wash your hands frequently and for 20 seconds, cough in your elbow, don't touch your face, disinfect surfaces, which are handrails, doorknobs, computers, and those sorts of things. When sick, stay at home and follow the advice of your medical providers. Businesses are responsible to enforce these directives. In July, nearly 700 bars and other businesses failed their inspections. These inspections were carried out by the Louisiana State Fire Department's office, the Louisiana Department of Alcohol and Tobacco, and by selected other fire prevention bureaus. The general policy for the state is if you have up to three notifications of violating, you will have your permit pulled. This applies to bars and others who have to have a permit. Normally, you will get 2 courtesy visits to point out if you're doing something that's not in accordance with the criteria to be open. But if you get the third one, it's 3 strikes and you're out. However, if there's a egregious or blatant violation, you may only get the 1 notification, and that may result in, for example, a bar having its permit pulled. Everyone age 8 and older should wear a mask, and it is suggested that children as early as 2 consider wearing masks for them, but it is mandatory for everybody 8 years and older. Children and young adults are becoming an increasing part of the problem, with more and more positive tests occurring among those groups. Many of them are asymptomatic. It's been estimated that as many as 40% of young adults do not have the symptoms, but that does not mean that they cannot be prevented from spreading COVID, which they indeed can. And unfortunately, parents, grandparents, friends, other people are affected. Even though they don't show any symptoms, they can infect others who may become ill or die from that exposure. So what can we do to save lives and improve the economy? Well, as we've said, follow these mitigation and preventive procedures. There has been some improvement, I've observed, but we're not nearly there yet. And if we're going to be able to move to phase 3, we have to meet the federal guidelines, the criteria of the 14-day trajectory of downward number of people with flu symptoms, COVID-19 symptoms, hospitalizations, and those sorts of things sustained over a 14-day period. And when we do those things, then we'll be able to move into phase 3. I urge all of us to be part of the solution, not part of the problems. We understand that many people resist wearing a mask, and whereas I can understand that, the medical science has proven that masks do save lives. And so regardless of what your personal feeling may be toward the mask, if we want to get out of this pandemic, restart our businesses on the way to recovery, it's just imperative that all of us follow these mitigation and preventive procedures, and a large part of that is wearing the mask, and I urge you all to do so. So, also on a different subject, I want to remind the citizens of Bossier City that this coming Saturday, the 15th of August, there will be an initiative to renew the millage that funds part of the salaries for our police and fire department. It's extremely important that we have a good turnout and they vote for the renewal of this 6.19 millage to support our police and fire. And thank you. And our next briefing will be next Thursday, August 20th. Thank you. Good day.